Hi everyone! Today we talk about the light. My guest is David Chomiak, a professional gaffer. We want to show you how to look amazing on the camera. David, tell us, what is the gaffer and what do you do on the video set?
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. So it's a very basic but important question, which is something that many people ask me. The gaffer is basically the leader and the manager of the lighting department on film sets, commercials, music videos. So yeah, the gaffer is basically the leader and manager of the lighting department on set. We don't just add lights, we're all about controlling the whole set. So sometimes our job is actually to take away lights. The gaffer is responsible for electricity, for safety in lighting, for rigging, for lights, for the mood of the movie, the commercial, the whole atmosphere. He's not responsible personally, he doesn't have to do everything himself. He has a team under him, mainly a key grip, who is responsible for rigging and cranes and all those big constructions, a best boy electric, who is responsible personally, it's like broken down, for electricity. And he also has a team of lighting technicians and grips. So it's a big team, and he uses all his people and himself and his knowledge to create something that serves the purpose of the project.
Cool, it's really so interesting and I think it's so hard work.
Yes, but it's also very interesting work. It lets you be, it keeps your mind alive. There's always different things you have to solve on every day, basically.
Okay, where should I put my lights? It's directly in front of me, I look flat.
So it's a very complex topic, the directions of fixtures and lights in general. We have to differentiate between different genres of productions. In podcasts, for example, which is one of the simpler forms, which is something kind of what we're doing today. We have to have partially a beauty light, but also something with a bit of contrast. So what we're doing is we need to create a good direction for keying, which is usually a 45-degree angle from the face, which is what we have here on the left side. This is the NOLED M300R with a softbox.
Cool.
And it's giving us a nice direction. And then we have to find other directions for lights that supplement this main direction. So for example, we're also using a top light to kind of help separate us from the background and fill in some parts of our face that wouldn't be reached just by the key light off our side. We also added a backlight, which is the MS60R from Godox, to create a kicker on our hair. So this is one instance of lighting directions, but there's also, if you're shooting a TikTok reel or if you're making something more basic, then you want beauty lighting for yourself, usually.
Yeah.
So, then you wouldn't really aim for contrast. You would aim for example, two lights, one on the left, one on the right, or even a light that's around the camera, which is, for example, a ring light, which is something, which is something we don't use professionally, but for TikToks, it's something that you would want to get the effect of. So it all depends on what you're shooting for. If you're doing a music video, you would go for harder contrast. So you would not add the top light sometimes. You would not add the kicker. You would just add, for example, just one light from one side to have like a two-face effect.
Oh, okay.
So it really depends. And then there is another big topic, which is commercials. In commercials, you want to have something beautiful but interesting. So commercial would be similar to here, but maybe with a fill from the right side instead of negative. So it would look more pleasant because we want to sell products. So we want to show the actors in the best possible light, which can sometimes undermine artistic intention. But yeah, your light placement generally depends on the type of project that you're working on.
Okay, understand. Great. So I have another question. How can I make my face and body look more 3D? Many people are afraid of shadows, but are shadows good for a muddy look?
In general, the best way to cut yourself from the background and to like make you stand out and be 3D is the kicker, which is right behind us. The reason it works so well in detaching you from the background is because it gives you a contour, an outline, as you can see also on the sweater. So it kind of acts like a natural contour between you and what's behind you. It's also important that the color of this contour or the general light levels on your kicker and on you don't match the background, so that it's a different amount of light that's, kicking you from the back and a different amount of light that's behind you. So you want to create layers. And the way to achieve these layers is with a kicker.
Okay. What is the backlight? Why it's so important to separate me from the background?
So backlight is another word for kicker, which we just described. And the reason it's important to separate you is that you don't mesh together with it.
Okay.
You have to be able to create these layers that we talked about, and the easiest way is to differentiate you and the background with the backlight or kicker or hair light sometimes.
Hair light, yeah,
Yes.
I like when I look like a Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
What is soft light? Why does it make my skin look so smooth and perfect?
Soft light is the big topic in lighting, and it kind of divides people. It's a very simple rule in physics, because we have to start with physics. The way to make light soft is to make it big and to bring it close. That's the two rules of soft lighting. So to put it more professional, lighting, how hard a source is depends on the surface area of the source and the distance of this source from you or from the subject. The reason distance also matters is because relative size decreases as you have more distance from the light. So for example, if I have a 90 centimeter softbox here, this is going to be the same softness as a 150 centimeter softbox from twice the distance, because we have a bigger surface, but it's also further. So if you want to make it softer, you want to go bigger and closer. And if you want to make something hard, then you go further and smaller. So that's the general idea. The reason that this works the way that I explained is because softness is actually kind of wrap. How light wraps around skin and facial features. So let's say a nose is a facial feature, for example. If a light is soft, right, the part of the dome is going to reach behind your nose. So it's going to fill the gap that a smaller source, a harder source, wouldn't reach. So that's why softness is about wrapping, because you want to achieve a light that wraps around you or wraps around something. That's why it becomes soft.
Now we talk about hard lights. So when I should use the hard lights, it good for a strong or dramatic style?
Hard lights have their space in lighting, and they're very good, they're amazing. I would go as far as they're not more dangerous per se than soft lights. I follow a rule of, in general, not crossing this kind of line with hard lights. So I usually use hard lights for edge lights, for kickers, for hair lights. And for specific effects, I use them for frontal lights. It's more for like fashion kind of shoots or photo more than motion picture. Hard lights can give you a stronger contour when you're using the kicker. Yes, yes. And also with our kicker here, or hair light, this hard hair light works better on us than a soft hair light because of how visible strong light is compared to soft light. It kind of makes the surface pop more. So you would want to use hard light for kickers. You would want to use hard light for rays. If you want to have like a light ray, today we've hazed up this room, and you can kind of see the kicker, lingering in the fog. So if it was soft light, it would just basically blow out the whole image. You wouldn't have a ray, you would have a general ambience. So you can also use hard light for light rays. So you have kicker, you have light rays, and then you can use lights for specific effects, for example, fashion from the front. But that's not ideal for most productions. Because, if you have any imperfections, hard light is gonna, make them look more visible instead of hiding it like soft light would. And then there is a very specific direction, which is top. If you're lighting from the top, it's called the Godfather lighting. If you have watched the Godfather movie, that's how...
I think everybody watched the Godfather movie.
That's the classic Godfather lighting effect, when you have these very visible, stylized shadows under your eyes, which is created by the bone here. That's what it's casting. So that's a very specific effect. It could be used to make something look spooky or weird, unsettling. Lighting is all about controlling emotions and portraying feelings. So it's another thing to consider. And of course, any time that you would want something to be more shiny, like let's say you're doing a food commercial, or you're taking pictures of your pasta that you just cooked for dinner. If you hit it with hard light instead of just soft light, it's going to look more like fresh and full of flavor.
And you want to buy and you want to eat right now.
Exactly. So on food commercials, we often use hard light in addition to soft light to make food pop.
I think this is the hard light. It's nice on some food, how you say, but I think it's not nice on the face.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Can I make the soft light at the home if I don't have any professional lamp?
Yes, definitely yes. My first soft lamp was when I created my first lamp, actually, in high school. I bought a trash can from IKEA. I drilled through the trash can. I put a light bulb through the back. And then I put I don't remember what it was, but some white material to diffuse it.
And it was like a softbox?
So it was a trash can softbox. So you can most definitely make soft light on a budget. Softboxes are one of the cheapest lights. If you don't even have the funds to buy a softbox, then you can just get your mom's shower curtain off and hang it somewhere and then shine any light through. You can even basically, creating soft light can be free even. You're sitting next to a window. You have to close the white, semi-translucent curtains, and it's already diffusing your light. So it's very, very simple to create soft light. It's one of the, easiest things in lighting.
Good idea. Who don't have money have to use it.
Exactly.
Softbox, umbrella, beauty dish. It's confusing. What is the must-have for the home studio?
So we can categorize modifiers into two main groups. One group is the soft and one group is the hard. Main ones for soft modifiers will include softboxes, lanterns. Lanterns are like softboxes, but they're more round. Diffusion frames, diffusion materials. You can just hang them. They're also in diffusion frames, so it's all interconnected. Other soft modifiers would include a bounce board even, or your wall. So you don't have to buy stuff to have, modifiers. Even your wall, if you bounce from it, it's a modifier. It's making it softer. So those would be the soft modifiers, most of them. And then for hard modifiers, we can have the dish, which is also called the hyper-reflector, which is the most basic modifier you get with every lamp that you buy, with every COB, point source LED fixture. So that's your dish. You also have beauty dishes, but that's more specific. We don't really use it in motion picture. You also have a Fresnel. A Fresnel is also generally pretty hard, but it is softer than a dish, and it's also more pleasant because of how internal physics work in the Fresnel. So you also have a spotlight. we will show how a spotlight works later.
Okay.
It comes from the theatrical world when they were using the profile spotlights on talent that was walking around on stage.
Ah, this is like direct lamp
Yes.
and like on the circle,
Yes.
and you just follow the actor.
Yes,
Okay,
that's exactly
I
the
got it.
profile spot. And they also have the electronic version of these on concerts. Those are called moving heads or spots, or you can use them you have many ways for them. But it's this kind of lamp that has like a body and moves around and turns.
Okay.
That's the one that they use on venues, events, concerts. So that's also a spotlight. It's a type of spotlight. It's a spotlight optic inside, just more sophisticated than the ones we use in film.
It's so difficult. It's really so difficult.
So yeah, those are hard modifiers. There's also simple hard modifiers like a mirror. A mirror can reflect light. It can also spot it depending on the surface of the mirror. It can flood it more.
Or maybe something white,
yeah.
some white material.
A white material would...
Or a little bit like a glasses, like, I don't know this name, but some photographer use it, this like a mirror, like it's not the mirror, but...
It's like the silver bounce board problem.
Yeah, exactly, something
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
also a hard modifier, exactly, because, it usually focuses.
If mirror is soft...
No, mirror is
it's
also
light.
hard.
Ah, it's also hard,
Yes,
okay.
unless it's coated in something that diffuses the light.
I told you, it's so hard. It's so difficult.
Okay, so I think those are the two main groups and most of the modifiers. And your question was what to have in the home studio. Well, I would say you have to evaluate what kind of content you're going to be shooting. If you just want beauty content, go for softboxes. If you want more, music videos or stylized for YouTube product commercials, you want some hard lights as well. So then you have to combine Fresnels with softboxes, with spotlights. A spotlight is a super universal thing because you can use it for every shoot, basically. You can add a bit of light here, a bit of light there. It's very precise.
What is the grid? Does it help to keep the light only on me and not on the walls? How can I use it colors?
So a grid or lighting control grid or honeycomb, it has many names, as everything in lighting, of course, is a part of a modifier. It's supposed to directionalize your photons that are coming out of your modifier more. And so what it does, usually what we use it for, is we angle a light a bit downward, we raise it, and we add the grid, which is like a coordinate system, basically. And what happens, yes, and what yes. And what happens with using a grid is that this light, instead of spilling pretty wide and onto the wall, it's only going to come like this. It's going to hit you more. So it's still going to spill on the wall, just a bit. But the point is that the amount that's spilled on the wall and the amount that hits you in proportions is way better with the grid. You're more lit than the wall when you're using the grid. But it can be used in other ways as well. For example, today we're using a F800R from NOLED with the inflatable diffusion and the skirt in the back to not spill on the wall. But instead of this skirt, we would have a grid on it, like here on the softbox.
Okay.
So you have to understand the pros and cons of each way of diffusing and changing light. The best way is to try it yourself and see how it looks like. The reason we did it like this and not with a grid is because grids also make life a bit harder.
Okay.
It doesn't come free. There's always a cost to what you do. And even though grids control light really well, they will make it a bit harder. Just because you can think about it this way. When you look at the light from an angle, for example, you don't see the whole surface because the grid sometimes cuts out parts of the light from your view. So already, from your point of view, the surface size of this source is decreasing. So it's harder.
Okay.
So grids are great, but you need to understand what's happening.
How it works.
Yes.
Can the red or blue light change the emotion of my video?
Yes, colors are a very strong tool. You can use colors to create suspense, create happiness. You can use them for sensual scenes, to build up tension between characters in a movie. You can symbolize everything with colors. we use something called complementary colors very often. There's a color wheel, you can Google it, it's called complementary color wheel. And we usually pick colors on the exact opposite sides. There is this ominous and very famous orange and teal look, for example. The orange and teal look comes from this color wheel. Orange and teal are the exact complementary colors on the color wheel. So that's why filmmakers often use colors in combination that are the furthest from each other on the hue wheel. I will show you later how the hue wheel looks. Because these complementary colors, as the name suggests, complement each other very well. So that's one way to use colors. If you're using only single colors, then you can, for example, calm people down with pink, with purple. You can make them a bit more agitated or suspicious with red.
Yeah.
You can also make something look more romantic with red.
With red, yeah.
Yes, you can make somebody more beautiful with warm white, for example, 32,000 kelvins. You can make somebody look more pale or lifeless with very cold lighting, for example, 8,000 kelvins, 10,000 kelvins. And talking about kelvins, this is the two ways of expressing the colors in lighting. One is a separate temperature scale, which is in kelvins. It goes from, let's say, 1,000 to 20,000 kelvins. Daylight, sunlight at noon would be 5,600 kelvins, which is the neutral white, which is what we're lit with right now. And we also have the kicker, which is at 3,200 kelvins, which is a warmer white. And then we have the system of colors, which is the hue wheel, which I just mentioned. So you can either describe colors as of saturated real colors, or the temperature of the white light, which is technically also a color, but we don't. It's an easier way to use it on set, this way that we have these two systems. So yeah, you can use colors to influence how a scene feels or how your video feels in many ways.
Actually, I'm using all the time like a blue and pink lights. I think it's suitable on my face and body.
Yeah. So I wanted to show you how it would look unlit. This is us unlit, probably looks like crap. And this is with all the fixtures set up. The angle is this, but I think you can see on all the other cameras as well how it looks lit and unlit. And now let's break it down light by light. So the first light we've mentioned in the video was the key light. And our key light is the M300R from Godox, which is this. It's on the left side of us. It's giving us a general, light level so that we're visible. It's a pleasant angle to get light from. We will not be wrinkly, we will not look old or ugly. But we are not that interesting right now.
Not ugly.
Yes. So we want to create us more interesting. So we will add the kicker. This one.
It's like a 3D?
Yes, this is the one that separates us from the background. The kicker is a must. It separates good lighting from bad lighting in many occasions. Then we'll add the top light. Top light helps fill things in that the key light is not reaching, whilst still retaining some contrast, which is what we have from the right side. And then we'll add the eye light. This eye light is the Godox MS60R with the silicon diffuser. It's, for me personally, it's the most beautiful eye light you can have, because it's just the perfect shape for reflections.
And this is light for make the lights in your eyes.
Yes, exactly. It's also called a catch light or an eye light, because it's caught in the eye, so that's why it's a catch light. And so we have the key light, we have the top light, we have the kicker or hair light or backlight, whichever you want to call it, and we have the eye light / catch light. And now we'll add something in the background. This is not defined as a specific light, but we could call it a practical.
Okay.
It's not exactly a practical, because practical lights are physically visible fixtures. Fixtures mean lights on film sets. So these practicals are physically visible fixtures that are in the frame. Right now, we have another MS60R from Godox lighting up the wall, the brick wall behind us. So I will call it a practical for simplicity's sake, but technically it's not a practical. So what this creates is we're now building the world around us. We're not lighting us anymore. We're lighting the whole scene. Alternatively, I have also prepared another MS60 with a spotlight attachment. If we turn off the wall light behind us and we can turn on the spotlight.
Cool.
So this one kind of mimics a industrial window being projected on the bricks.
Like a fence?
Yes, or a fence.
Yeah.
So there's many ways to make your scene more interesting. I have to add that in order for these tricks on the wall to work, we had to make sure we're not spilling too much light behind us. That's why we have this skirt on the F800R. On the F800R, and that's why we have the grid on the softbox. If we took it off, too much light would hit the wall, and then we would not be able to create these controlled effects on the wall if it was too bright. So we have to have control. Lighting is all about control. I can also show you one by one how this was, achieved.
Yeah.
So, for example, this is where we placed our key light, but we could technically reverse this whole situation by placing the key light on the other side in 45 degrees angle and reversing also the negative fill. It doesn't really matter. What matters is the catch light or the eye light is also from this, yes, exactly. It's also from the side of the key light, just so it doesn't destroy contrast. Because what I'm doing with the negative fill or floppy or bound, with floppy, is that I'm cutting any light coming to your face from the other side. So I don't want to destroy this control by filling in from this side with the eye light. So you have to understand your whole 360, what's happening around you when you're lighting. You can't pollute your scene. You have to have thought through directions. So that's why we have the key light. That's why we have the catch light from the same direction. And that's why we have all the modifiers on the lights so we don't spill too much. Then with the kicker, we do have some haze. So I've created I've put the Godox MS60 with a lens that is not very wide. So it won't spill into whole haze, but only more or less on you / on us. So what this helps us with is retaining the contrast in the image around you. So you have to be thoughtful of how light behaves in haze, without haze, on surfaces, on faces. It's very complex, but very rewarding if you do it correctly.
Cool. Can you show me also we talk about the red lights and the blue lights. How does it change our atmosphere?
Yes. So for example, one light that you can be very free with using colors is the kicker. It's very safe to have a kicker in specific colors. So this would be a red kicker, for example.
Cool.
It's still very safe because we are not lighting your part of the face that's mainly visible in the camera with red. Red is a beautiful but dangerous color for camera sensors.
But you think not green one? Because green can make face like a Shrek.
Yes, green also. But in terms of camera sensors, red is the most dangerous.
Okay.
So you have to know your sensor, your camera capabilities before you use red in general, especially for keying. And what we could also do now, since we're going more moody, is if we've set our kicker to red, we could also set our practical, which is lighting the wall, to red. So it kind of makes sense.
It will be like romantic?
Yeah.
Romantic mood?
Yeah. That's what we're aiming for. So this will be the red background. This is also called motivated lighting. If you have a window in the frame and you have a light coming through the window, but not enough to hit you, but you add a fixture / light from the same direction, that's motivated by the window. So we are trying to retain logic when lighting. This is why I've turned the wall red and also the kicker red. So it's motivated. The kicker is motivated by the wall color. So viewers, connect it in their heads.
Cool.
We can also show color contrast. For example, we can add our top light a bit warmer, like this. So now, you know, it's going to be a different skin tone, a different look.
To be honest, I don't like the yellow.
Yeah, it depends. Makes you look more
Yeah,
tan.
yeah. But for somebody, it's look really nice. But general for me, I like a little bit more white color.
Yeah,
Yellow.
for your skin tone, it's better to have clear white.
Yeah.
That's
but
why.
But it's really cool, you know. Like you just sit and just playing.
Yeah, yeah, that's lighting.
Like a DJ.
Yeah.
But lightning DJ.
Yeah, and yeah, I can show you also why having red, for example, for your main key light is also nice, but can be dangerous, just because skin tones can fall apart in red. Now we're mixing red from the key light with white from the top light.
That's how I look like. I don't see myself.
I would have to see the preview of the camera, but in general, it's an interesting look. You just have to be very mindful of color light, you know, keying phases. Usually when we're
I
using...
can be like a vampire. Vampire. It's nice for Halloween style.
Yeah. Usually when we use red on films, we always mix it with a bit of white. So it's not very strong red, because it can make your skin fall apart in the video. But yeah, in general, if you want to play with colors, you should keep your key light, top light, everything that's hitting you from the camera side, white, if possible.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can play with colors in the background, on your hair, on your clothes, on something else, you know, somewhere.
Cool. I like it.
Yeah.
But it's really, yeah. I cannot learn this one. Also, if I shine, I will never to learn this one. I have only one lamp, and I think it's enough for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, and it's really so interesting.
Yeah. In music videos, you can also go, for example, more into like a purple direction.
I love it, purple. Really, purple, I love it.
Yeah. So this is, for
And
example...
actually, I think it looks nice, red with purple.
Yeah, it's a good combination, and purple with blue also looks really nice. And we can also go, for example, on this side, which is our key light. It's gonna be this one. We can go, for example, pretty blue on it. So now we have a very interesting combination of blue, red, and a bit of purple fill from the top.
Rainbow.
This is more for music videos, you know, specific effects that you might want to do.
But you know, it's really cool because your lamp can change color. Because generally, I see the lamp, and this is lamp just was white or yellow,
Yeah.
and didn't change color. But your lamp can change color for different.
Yeah, yeah. That's why you should go to Godox for such
Cool.
RGB fixtures. Most of their lights are available in RGB.
Really, it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah.
So you don't need to buy like 100 lamp. You can buy only couple, like 3, and this lamp can give you like a different color,
Yeah.
white color, yellow
Yeah.
color. So
Yeah.
save your space.
Exactly, exactly. And maybe I can also go through what fixtures we've used. So the light that we used for catch light,
Also can change color.
yes.
Cool.
It is the same light that we've used for the wall on the bottom, and for your hair light, and for the projection of the window. So those are all the same lights, just with different modifiers. This is called the NOLED MS60R. With the silicone diffuser. That one is with the basic attachment. The other one on your hair is also with the basic attachment, which is, I call it an architectural modifier. And then the other one that was on the wall, I can show you which one. This one is also the same light, but with a spotlight mount. So those are all the same lights. Some we use with batteries, some we use without. For example, here we've used it with a battery, so there is no cable running.
Cool.
And also, the biggest light we have is the top light. Top lights.
I love it.
Really,
I love it.
Top lights are nice when soft. They're very important to be soft. This is the F800R, which is an 800 watt RGB WW fixture. RGB stands for red, green, blue, so we have the colors, and WW stands for warm and cold white. So this implies that you have the two, color spectrums, the color and the white as well. And this is the M300R, also from Godox, which is also RGB. Actually, all our lights are RGB today. So this is how we lit this scene with the...
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Five lamps?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
And six.
6, but 5 used.
Yeah.
So we've used 6 lamps, from which 5 were used simultaneously most of the time, which shows you don't need like crazy setup. We could do this with less, but this is, a more generous freestyle lighting. But it just shows that it's not very complicated. You just have to understand how to build a world with lighting, which is why I got into lighting in the first place, because you get to build a world.
Cool. Yeah. You will teach me how to build a world?
Yeah.
I think he will spend all life. If I want a cozy and romantic vibe, what lights set up at the best?
In general, for this kind of content and this kind of vibes, you would want something that's soft. You don't need hard effects here. You don't need crazy backlight, crazy kickers. You want something that's beautiful. So you want something pretty frontal, not very contrasty. Mm-hmm. You want something like a softbox, light matte. You can go to, for example, Godox's site and browse through what size fixtures they have, what types of softboxes they have. And you would want to use colors that, help with making a scene more sensual. So, for example, any warm tones, warm white, red, orange, saturated yellows. So anything that's physically warm, either on the white light scale or it's in the part of the color wheel that's also close to red. So those are...
Pink gold?
Yeah, gold would
It will be like a red?
Yeah, gold would be in between yellow
But
and...
not gold, the pink gold.
Pink gold.
Pink gold.
I don't know if there's such a official...
I don't know, it's on the iPhone smartphone. I see this light like a pink gold.
Okay. Usually we refer to colors on the HSI, so hue, saturation, intensity scale, or hue wheel or XY coordinates for very precise colors. But I can look up later what your specific color is and tell you. So these types of colors you can use to create an intimate scene with the viewer, to bring them closer. Soft light and warm colors.
Cool. If I want to look more mysterious and expensive, what should I do?
You could basically turn your lights lower. No matter what you do, if you want something to be very fancy, it's a very old trick in the book.
Like old money.
Yes, it's a very old trick. Is to have lower exposure and to have more contrast. So you would want to have no filling from the other side, just a key light, and have a darker vibe, less light in general.
Okay, what is the biggest mistake people make with lighting and the video?
I would say they don't learn about lighting.
Because it's difficult.
Yeah, before creating videos. I also don't want to tell people to stop doing the videos, because the way you learn about lighting is by doing. So you have to do them. But in general, I see a lot of flat lighting. People just place a light in the front. And then as soon as and the second mistake, as soon as they discover the directions, the contrast, everything we've talked about today, then they overuse it. They go overboard. They start to only do a kicker or only do a fill light. They go crazy. So you have to have a balance. You have to understand what you're lighting for. You have to know what your goal is and keep that in mind, and not just, light something in a way because somebody else did it or...
But look, example, if I put lights like that, one from the right side, another from the left side, and I think I look amazing in this light, but for another people, they don't like how I look like.
Yeah.
But it's have to be just maybe my vision when I like myself.
It's, your self-perception is important. You have to feel good about yourself in the recording so that you sound natural and you look natural.
So more not some rules for putting the lights. You can put lights wherever how you like it. In the normal life, just for record some video for yourself.
Rules are meant to be broken as soon as you understand the rules. if you understand the rules, you understand the way of lighting by the book, then you can go off book.
Cool. Lights, it's not just a technical. It's about the feeling. Thank you, David, for here's the tip.
Thank you as well.
Guys, tell us in the direct message which style do you like more. Bye!